feel about going to the birthing class?
This is stupid. We don't need to go. I know everything already.
Do you?
Yes.
Alright, what are you most excited about?
Leaving. No, I just want to get the tour and see everything.
But we have to sit through it how long?
I don't know.
6 hours.
24 hours.
6-hour birthing class. Yeah. It's gonna be fun. Okay, we just left our birthing class, and what'd you think?
Well, it's 4 o'clock now. It started at 9.
Well, was it informative?
Yeah, it was too much information. Half of that stuff, they should have a class
Like a early pregnancy?
for early pregnancy. Yeah.
We
'Cause half
felt
of
like
that
the
stuff we've
beginning.
gone through already.
Yeah, the beginning of the class was pretty much like, well, too late for that.
It was like nutrition and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah.
We're at 36 weeks. We got 4 weeks left. We're not too concerned about nutrition anymore.
But the rest of it, like, if it's your first pregnancy, definitely worth taking. I think so. Because you go about what type of birth plan, medication, what your hospital specifically does. So that was informative. And then what do you think of the tour?
I mean, that's really the part I wanted to see the most. Was
Yeah, he's excited for the tour.
just seeing the rooms and, you know, just so,
They were nice.
yeah,
Like,
just
they
so we
were
don't get there and it's
nice.
not all a big surprise.
Yeah, so we found it's not like your typical hospital where you enter in a labor unit, so you have to enter in like a regular doctor facility kind of place. But long class, but informative, so we definitely got all of our questions answered, I think. I feel much better after taking it. So yeah, that is our thoughts.
Auburn with 2nd down and 7 coming up. They've moved the ball quickly down to the Georgia 37-yard line. Dogs lead it 7-0.
Couldn't wait to watch the game.
9:28. Clock is moving. Jarrett Stidham, the quarterback.
During our tour, he's watching the game on his phone.
Stands on the near hash. He'll take the snap, fake it to Johnson. Wants to throw. Here comes Ledbetter, and now he just chunks it over the Auburn bench as Jonathan Ledbetter was going to sack him from behind at the 45-yard line. Instead of saw him coming, he twisted that head around.
I'm waiting for you to go, touchdown!
Woo! Away into the Auburn bench.
Hey guys. Today I'm going to talk about the birthing class that Patrick and I took this past weekend. So to start, they give you this book. And it's called The Gift of Motherhood, Your Personal Journey Through Prepared Childbirth. Well, this was really useful. I found a lot of good information that we didn't go through every single page. But that is what they give you during your childbirth class. So I have a bunch of notes here from the class, from how Patrick and I felt about it. I have some video of that. And I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in so you know what to expect in a birthing class. To start with, I will probably say we will not take another one. If we have another child, I feel like I learned all I needed to learn out of this. So I kind of feel like it's a one-time thing, unless you're like me, where like my first one was 8 years ago and I forgot a lot, and the classes have changed so much. They weren't very informative back then. So I made a list, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you the list of like the things I checked off that I still really need to do that I got from the class. The first one is I need to find a pediatrician and I need to make an appointment. They recommend that to make an appointment, talk to the doctor, make sure it's the type of facility you want, that there's a sick room, a well room, that they have the same, I guess, parenting style as you do. So if you want to breastfeed, that they promote breastfeeding so that your doctor is willing to work with you on the breastfeeding if you're struggling. So I thought that was very interesting, very smart. So I do need to do that. My goodness, I still need to do that. So stuff I still have to do. Make a childbirth plan. With Aiden, plans weren't very big back then, from what I remember. But I don't ever remember like being offered any type of alternative. But I was young and I don't know, I just kind of went in and was like, okay, I'm ready for whatever. But I was induced as well. So with induction, your plan is kind of set in place with certain aspects of it. And make a living will. Again, with Aiden, I walked in, I did the living will then. So they say now have a birth plan and living will done beforehand. And talk about your birth plan with your doctor. So that if there's any problems or questions or suggestions they might have, you guys can work it out. So that was my checklist I still have to do after this birthing class. So let's jump into like what the class was all about. Is it worth it? Is it something that you want to do? The first half of the class, so the class was recommended for 30 to 36 weeks in your pregnancy. And the first half of the class was nutrition, what to, what not to do. At this point in time, for me, it's useless. I'm 36 weeks pregnant. I have 4 weeks left, maybe. And yeah, nutrition I should have gotten like way before then, or what not to eat and what not to do, but way before then. So Patrick and I both felt like maybe the class should have been geared towards 30 weeks and on. She did say, however, if you've done something up to this point, it's not too late to fix it. Most of you won't deliver in 2 weeks. And we were both like, I mean, we could deliver in 2 weeks. So that was kind of, I felt like that part was useless. I did not get a lot out of the first half. We worked on breathing exercises and massages. So I got to massage Patrick, he got to massage me. One thing she said I found very interesting, that you massage your partner usually how you would like the massage. So if you massage your partner really hard, you probably want a really hard massage. Where you massage them is probably where you want to be massaged. I thought that was interesting. I never thought of it like that. But yes, we got to do that. That was interesting. Patrick's really good at massages. He's really good at it. I feel like I'm not so good, but I don't know. Breathing exercises. Basically, we turn towards each other, we hold hands, and the first half of your delivery, basically from 0 to 6 dilation, you'll be doing like a 1, 2, 3, 4 in, 1, 2, 3, 4 out, and keep it like a nice steady pace. And then after that, it becomes more rapid when you're in, I want to say they called it, I forget what they called it, but you're in this next stage, which is like 6 to 10 dilation. And it's like 1, 2 in, 1, 2 out, 1, 2 in, 1, 2 out. So basically it quickens. And then there's the, which everybody knows, the the hee-hee-hoo-hoo thing, the like quick breaths. That's for when you're in transition, which is the very end before you give birth. So he laughed when I had to do that one. So I was like, you can't laugh, like you're supposed to be helping me. But we did do breathing exercises. I don't remember, they taught me that in the first class I did with Aiden, but I don't remember utilizing them. But I did, however, have to go on a breathing mask with Aiden, so maybe this time I need to utilize it more, because they do say when you get, like, I got epidural with Aiden, when you get an epidural, it slows your breathing, like you're still contracting, and the contractions stop your child in your belly from breathing properly. That's why you need to breathe properly. So the fact that you have an epidural kind of hinders you from doing those breaths, because you don't feel that contraction, but the baby still feels it. So I will definitely try to utilize those. I don't want to go on a breathing mask, but and I definitely want to do what's best for Presley and make sure she's getting enough oxygen. So there are benefits to doing the breathing steps other than just making you get through the contraction. It's also for the child. So I thought that was interesting. Sorry. Next. Oh, we saw how like the organs and stuff looked on a pregnant person. So it was like a non-pregnant person and then a pregnant person, and like how your lungs get wider because they usually fill down and they can't fill down. That's why you're out of breath. As I'm doing this, I'm out of breath. And then shows like your little bladder, so now you know why you pee so much. And then it also shows like your stomach and your intestines. So it explains a lot when you get to see a visual of how the baby affects your organs. But also, when we talked about the stomach and heartburn, she said like chocolate can give you heartburn, and like water can also give you heartburn. So heartburn's when like you overeat or overfeed. She said heartburn will occur. I didn't always think that. I thought it was like spicy foods, or I ate something wrong, or I just ate too late in the day. I knew probably eating too much would give you heartburn, but made more sense when I saw the picture. So, but that's why sometimes you get heartburn just drinking water, because you're filling up your stomach too much and drink too fast and you get heartburn. So, yeah, that was very interesting to see and to find out. And I like to know why things are happening. I find it interesting. What else we talked about? We talked about Braxton Hicks and like how they feel. I've been having a lot of Braxton Hicks lately, so that was a good subject to catch up on. And in my 36-week update, I will touch on that. But basically, the way you tell if it's Braxton Hicks or real contraction is you get up and walk. And if you get up and walk, the Braxton Hicks contractions will go away and real contractions will not. They will increase. So that's one thing they said, like a way to tell the difference between. The lady also said just do the opposite of what you were doing when you started getting the contraction. So if you are sitting watching TV and you start feeling contractions, then get up for 30 minutes. And so there's two different ways to go about it. The book said one way, she kind of said another. But basically, do the opposite for 30 minutes, see if that helps. If not, just go walk around and see if it intensifies. If it intensifies, you're probably in labor. So that was like super, super interesting and very, at this point in time, 36 weeks, very knowledgeable for me. Like, I really need to know that stuff. Sorry, you guys. So, yeah, nice to know the difference. Oh, and she talked about a contraction like tightens up top here. Let's see if I can show you my belly. It tightens right here and then works its way down, and that is because it is pushing the baby down. So that's how a contraction starts at the top and then kind of pushes its way down to start moving the baby in the right place. What's next? Timing contractions. So if they are 3 to 5 minutes apart, it is hospital time. If you live far away from your hospital, like 10 minutes apart, go to the hospital. Like if you're 45 minutes away, start earlier. Basically, I'm just hitting the highlight points of our class or stuff I found that was useful and interesting. With the timing contractions, basically you start, let them know when it stops, let them know when the next one starts. So it's a space in between that you really need to focus on. Patrick became like paranoid about this because I told you guys I've been getting a lot of Braxton Hicks contractions. We took this class on Saturday and everything was good Saturday night. I came home, I did a lot of cleaning stuff. Sunday morning I had city finals, so we were up like the crack of dawn, heading all the way like an hour away to my city finals, played 3 sets. It was rough. I was having Braxton Hicks the whole time. And then when I got home, I was still having it, and I had it all Sunday. So because of our birthing class, he got really paranoid and was like, should I time them? And I'd be like, feel, because you can feel how hard your stomach gets. It's basically like your little baby goes up in a ball. This is how the lady described it. Your baby goes in a ball and then releases. How I describe it is, it feels like your abs are contracting, but you can't uncontract them. Like it feels like you're working your abs, but you can't let them loose for some reason. So, he got paranoid when I was like, oh, there's another one. He's like, should I start timing these? So he started timing them. I told him they were sporadic. He didn't need to, but he was ready to start timing. Sorry if I'm looking down here. It's just, I had the notes down here. I'm just being very chill and relaxed with y'all right now. So yes, 3 to 5 minutes apart, go to the hospital, please. Unless you want to have your baby on the way or at home. You know, there's something in here I did not talk about, or I didn't write down. So one of the things I found so interesting is with Aiden, I was induced, they broke my water there. Well, if there's 2 ways that your water breaks, either it leaks out because it broke somewhere higher in the stomach, or if it breaks right near the cervix entrance, then you get a gush of water. So like it automatically doesn't go, and obviously mine did because I was in the hospital and he did it, but it can leak. But if it is a gush, then if you feel a heartbeat, this is like way, like I had no clue about this. If you feel a heartbeat in your vagina area, like something pulsing, that's not good. The umbilical cord came out with a gush of water. So you need to lay down with your feet above your head and call an ambulance. Don't try and drive, don't try and sit in a car because you can sit on the cord. So I found like that was so interesting and so helpful because I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known I could be like putting my child in danger by going to the hospital when my water breaks if I feel that heartbeat. I wouldn't have known that feeling like a heartbeat there was not a normal thing to feel. So that was something I found very useful and very interesting, and I'm very glad she told me that because if I feel a heartbeat, my legs are going up and that ambulance is being called. Okay, that was a side note because I forgot to write that one down. The class also went over how like mom may feel, how dad may feel, feelings that both parents go through, how are they different, and then talked about how mom will struggle after birth too, and give mom about 6 weeks before she returns back to normal. And they said, I know she's not even normal now, but like eventually she will go back to normal. So that was probably reassuring for Patrick, and also gave him a heads up of how when he's gonna get me back and how things will not be normal right after. And she did a lot of like information to the dad about the mom, which I found very like, you know, you don't want to be the one telling him the whole time, and it reassures when someone else tells him as well. And also there's things you don't want to tell him and you don't know like how to explain it or talk about it. So it's good that she was able to like sit there and be like, well, dad, you may feel like this because mom's acting like this, and let me just tell you, this will change, or this is normal, this is what to expect, and give mom time and just be patient with mom. So that was great. Like that was like, and like at that moment you want to look over and be like, are you listening? You're listening, right? Because that's all directed at them in a nice way. She wasn't like badgering them. It was really nice. But then I also talked about how dad may feel so that you can also comfort dad. Okay, so now with the your water breaking. So like I told you, it could be a leak, which is hard to tell. If your water can leak, it can like slightly leak out and you don't know it, or you think it's pee, or you think it's discharge. So one way to find out if your water is leaking, especially if it's too early and you're concerned like, did my water break? Am I losing water or anything like that? One way to tell is if you lay down for a little bit and then you get up and there's like almost like it all comes out at once, then your water's probably leaking. Because discharge does not happen like that. Discharge doesn't just all of a sudden when you stand up come out. Sometimes it can like, you move a certain way and it kind of like comes out, but they said lay down and stand up, and if it all just kind of flows at one moment, then you need to go get checked to see if your water's leaking. With Aiden, I thought my water was leaking at some point, and it turns out I peed my pants. true story. I went to the doctor and they do like a cough test like they do on boys where like they had their fingers in there, or like a test, I don't even know what it was. And I coughed and he was like, nope, you're fine, your water's not leaking. And I'm like, okay, peed myself. Great, how embarrassing. Went all the way to the doctor's. So yeah, that's one way to find out if your water is leaking. You are supposed to change positions every 20 to 30 minutes when you are in labor. So even if you have an epidural, she said you're supposed to change positions. It helps with blood flow, oxygen, all of that stuff, and it helps get the contractions going. And a faster way to get your contractions going is to walk into, walk around the hospital. So wait a while. If you are going to get an epidural, wait a little bit before you do that. And try to see if you can get things further along. What else? Alright, we went over labor and the stages of labor. So a stage of labor would be like how I told you, like 0 to 6, 6 to 10, transition, and then birth. And so we kind of went through that. We went through pain medications. So this one is one I found very interesting. Had an epidural with Aiden. With Aiden, I broke my tailbone giving birth. His head did. And I don't know if I've talked about this before, but the pressure of his head broke my tailbone, and I was having back labor, which is also how they lay. And and on top of that, I had Pitocin, which pushes things along so much faster. So my labor was really long. It was 34 hours, but also really intense towards like the end, and I couldn't get the pain to stop because of the tailbone breaking. So I did get an epidural with Aiden. Everything turned out fine. I did tell you I had to go on oxygen. I had a fever. Aiden had a fever. I don't know if that was due to the epidural or just due to the stress of it all, because like I said, 34 hours is a long time. But so they went over medication options, which I was very interested in hearing. One of them was like an IV, and I haven't heard of this option, nor have I heard people talk about it, but I guess it's just to relax you. But when you get further along, like 8 centimeters, they won't give you any more of the IV stuff. Or maybe that's something they do for everybody, and I just don't know or didn't realize. There's a spinal tap, which you only get if you have a C-section. And then there's the epidural, which with an induction, they kind of tell you can get it immediately. They told me like I could walk in and get it, which I didn't. I waited till about 30 hours in before I got the epidural. And there's nitrous oxide. So this is a new one that's introduced I have never heard of. And this is one that she said my hospital does practice. So nitrous oxide, if you don't know, is like the laughing gas that you get at the dentist's office or something like that. Well, I found that very interesting. It's self-medicated, so like it's in and out of your system in 2 minutes. So basically she says you take a couple breaths, it's out of your system, out of baby's system. It's supposed to be a safer route, and it's supposed to calm you down. So she says some people who were on it said like they had pain still, but like their pain was over there and they didn't care that they had pain. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And others said like it just really, they still felt everything. So I don't know. I think in my birth plan, so since I broke my tailbone the first time, the doctor said more than likely it's going to happen again, because it's, once you break it once, it's more prone to break. So I was very gung-ho and still getting the epidural, just because that is like additional pain and pressure that you go through, and God, like it was awful, and it's all in your back area, and back labor is not fun. So, but I might try this nitrous oxide. Excuse me, I still have this cough. I asked my doctor about it, and allergies. So in my birth plan, I think I want to talk to my doctor about trying nitrous oxide in the beginning, seeing how I do, how far I can go, and then having an epidural as like a fallback if I want. But I do want to try and do just the nitrous oxide. Like if I can do that and make it a natural birth, like I would love that. So that's my plan for right now. And I know there's a lot of controversy about it, so But everyone's different. Everyone's plan's different. If you haven't experienced what I experienced, you don't know. And so I just ask that when you talk to people or when you're figuring out your plan, just like, or if someone else is telling you their plan, just respect it. And yeah, be nice about it because labor's hard. We talked about episiotomies. So I had a very old-fashioned doctor, and he let me tear. Well, I tore down the sides, like both sides, and I only had 2 stitches on each side. And most of the time they do an episiotomy, and there's some people who do it laterally, which I heard is bad because it gets more of the muscle. Our office, or the doctor's office, the hospital, whatever it's called, that I deliver in, does the episiotomy down. And that is better, but they said they try not to do an episiotomy if they don't have to. So for me, that was very reassuring because I had already torn and I didn't know, should I just let it tear again? Like, should they cut where the tears are? So I will tell them I've had episiotomy. I guess I would want them to do it where the scar tissue already is. Not too sure. But, sorry, my mail person's here and they just like drove in my driveway. I guess he's got a bigger package. Oh, it's one of Presley's items. I've been waiting for this. That's exciting. I'll go down there in a little bit and get it. But, so yeah, so personally, our hospital does not do episiotomies if they do not have to. So that was very interesting to know. You do want to know how they do it, why they do it, and which way they do it because it can depend on your recovery. Okay, I'm almost done. So if you've made it this far, yes, good for you. This is awesome. I feel like it's all great information. So I personally would be sucked into this because I just want to know. But it's not scary information. It's just like stuff you need to know. So, forceps or vacuum. So when you're pushing and you're having trouble, the doctor may suggest forceps or vacuum. The forceps are like these clamps, like the salad tongs, and it goes around the baby's head, and when you push, the doctor pulls. Same with the vacuum. Sucks on the top of their head. When you push, the doctor pulls. They talked about using that. They did tell me with Aiden, about an hour into my pushing, that they were going to prep the vacuum. And, sorry. And I did not want to do that, so I wanted to do the best I could, but also I was not pushing right. Like, the nurse had to come tell me. She was like, she whispered in my ear, she was like, push like you're pooping. And I was like, oh, okay. Because before I was pushing, again, I had the epidural, so you're kind of numb. And I was pushing with my face, so like I broke blood vessels in my eyes and stuff. So when you do push like you're pooping. And I don't know if people tell you this or not, or if you're supposed to know. I did not know, so I'm glad she told me. But it's funny that she whispered it like I was going to be all embarrassed. I'm like, you're literally looking at my hoo-ha and you're worried about telling me about poop. But, so yes, so push like you're pooping. So whether you want forceps or vacuum, this is what the lady in the class suggested. And I completely 100% agree. I would go right along with it. Go with her suggestion, in my opinion. She said, you want your physicians to use what they are trained to use. So if that physician is trained to use forceps, that is what they work best with. Don't try and change it. If they're trained to use vacuum, that's what they work best with. Don't try and change it because that's what they're trained in. So basically, that's going to be what's best for baby. Made the most sense to me. Loved her answer. Loved the honesty about it because as pregnant moms, we can get very like, this is what I want. This is what I heard's the best. This is what I researched. And sometimes it's not about what you researched. It's about how that person was trained and how they're going to do what they know is best. And that in return is what's best, not everything that you researched. So that's how I feel about the situation. That's how I felt about it. And next would be, we went over all of like the baby's positions on how it could be breached and come out, and like that I also felt was like, I don't need to know. Like if I come around that, like if it comes to the point where the baby's breached and we have to do a C-section, so be it. I don't need to see every position of where it could be breached and how it could go wrong. Like that's where I'm like, I dwell on that stuff, don't tell me. So I kind of just tuned out a little bit on that one. But basically, some breaches, if it's your second or third child, you can deliver that way. I thought that was interesting. But your first child, probably not, is what she said. So talking about that, we watched a video on a vaginal birth. Didn't mean to see that either. Don't even want to see my own. So when they asked for like, do you want a mirror there? No. A mirror is not going to encourage me. I would not be encouraged by seeing my vagina stretch like that. Like, I would just be like, no, put it back in. Like, ow. So personally, and this is very TMI, but personally, I do not want a mirror. It's not going to encourage me. If it encourages you, get the mirror. Like, whatever you got to do to get that baby out, you do it. But for me, that won't help. So I didn't want to see the video about that. But she showed it. And then I didn't want to see the video about a C-section. But she showed it. And the C-section one, Patrick was like, no, 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 no. And I'm over there like, no. Like, I agree. Because they just look so rough doing it. Like, it just looks so rough. And I don't think that's anybody's ideal way of giving birth. It might be, though, if you want it planned and you want to know what's going on and when it's going on. So it could be, but, okay. Card memory is full, so we're back. So with the C-section, your arms are strapped to the table, and I did not know that. And you're like that because the table tilts. And I did not know that either. Like, that was so interesting. But the table tilts because, a pregnant lady should never lay flat on her back. Something to do with like the blood and oxygen and all that. But so the table tilts. Who knew? But I don't know. In my mind, a C-section looks scary. But you, at that moment, you will do whatever you have to do, whatever is necessary. So I'm not too worried. If I gotta do it, I will do it. Many, 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 many women do it. So that is always reassuring for me. I'm like, I can do it. Other people have done it. It's not like I'm the first one to ever get it, you know? Like, I'm not paving the path, which is even harder. But yeah, the moral of that is I really didn't want to watch the videos, but they showed them. And then at the end of it, we did a little bit of like caring for a newborn. And there's a bunch of pages on that I can read up on. But none of it was really substantial from what I remember. The very, very end, so the very, very end, we did a hospital tour. And oh no, I forgot to tell you guys this. So we're sitting in class, like, before it starts, and I hear, like, Patrick was like, hey, how are you? Like, to someone outside the door, and I'm like, who the hell is he doing in the hospital? And turns out 2 of his friends from high school who, his parents and their parents are really close, and we've been to their lake house a couple times, and so friends of ours were in the class with us, and that was fun. We got to do lunch with them and everything, so that was a lot of fun. She was 28 weeks, so like the beginning half about nutrition and stuff, I feel like she probably got more out of that. So she definitely did it early. Like, I did it at the very, very end, like where the cutoff is, and she did it before she was even technically supposed to. But on her, like it's probably smart on her half, because there was a lot of like stuff that she could have used in the beginning that she can still use all of the rest of the time. So definitely worth it for her to come early and do it early. But so we did a hospital tour at the end, and the Georgia game started during the hospital tour, and my husband is sitting there on his phone watching the Georgia game while we're doing the hospital tour. But I can't blame him. It was a 6.5 hour class. No, more than that. It was almost a 7 hour class. Like, he was a trooper. Like, that's not fun for guys. It wasn't, I was bored sometimes, and I'm sitting there antsy in the chair, and I'm like, it's a long time for me to be sitting. I know my feet are swelling. Like, if I'm antsy, I know my husband is definitely antsy. But our hospital was so nice, like so nice. I think I said this in like the video on the way home, but like it's like a not a typical hospital. Most typical hospitals have an emergency room entrance, a labor and delivery entrance. At least the one at Gwinnett Medical is a labor and delivery entrance. This one you have to enter like you're entering the facility, and then go to a separate elevator that goes to labor and delivery. It's a little different, but it was really, 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 really nice. Like, really nice. It's a brand new hospital, so we are really excited about that. And the rooms are huge. Whoa, they're huge. And it didn't look like anybody was delivering that day, but apparently there were 2 twins there, and we got to see them on the monitor, so that was pretty cool. But that's kind of it, you guys. Today is Monday, so like the class was Saturday, today's Monday, and I definitely like that I waited a couple days to film this because I got to let it all sink in, and I think it was very helpful. Like, I really do, and my husband does too. Like I said, we thought the beginning was not helpful just because of where we are in our pregnancy, but yeah, we're both glad we did it, but we both said like that's probably it, that's probably all we need, and we have this book we can always refer to, and probably won't do it again because I'm not planning on spacing kids out by 8 years again. So, but yeah, I want to get this up and recorded because I have my breastfeeding class tonight. So Monday night tonight. So I will do another video on that. And that one's a lot shorter class, thank goodness. But I heard it's packed with information, and I don't know too much about breastfeeding. Again, I'm not one to research the crap out of everything, so this should be very helpful for me. And then I'm 36 weeks. I had my doctor appointment today, which was my internal exam, so I will be back with a video for that too, on how the rest of my 36 weeks goes. And yeah, a lot of exciting stuff coming really soon. So you guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope if you have done a class and it's been a while, this refreshes your memory or it gives you things to think about or ask your doctor, or maybe it has just solidified why you need to take one or why not to take one. So that is what the birthing class was about, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will talk to you next time. Bye.